Cultivation means changing the karma. Although the supreme goal of Buddhism is the supreme enlightenment and liberation, the Buddha also taught that Buddhist practice is the source of happiness. It can lead to the end of human suffering and miseries. The Buddha was also a man like all other men. But why could he become a great enlightened one? The Buddha never declared that he was a deity. He only said that all living beings have a Buddha nature. That is the seed of enlightenment. He attained it by renouncing his princely position, wealth, prestige, and power for the search of truth that no one had found before. As Buddhist followers, we practice Buddhist tenets, not for entreating favors, but for following the Buddha's example, by changing bad karmas to good ones, or no karma at all. Since people are different from one another, some are rich and intelligent, some are poor and stupid, it can be said that this is due to their individual karma. Each person has his own circumstances. Buddhists believe that we reap what we have sown. This is called the law of causality or karma, which is a process, action, energy, or force. Karmas of deeds, words, and thoughts all produce an effect, either happiness or miseries, wealth or poverty. Karma does not mean determinism, because if everything is predetermined, then there would be no free will and no moral or spiritual advancement. Karma is not fixed, but can be changed. It cannot shut us in its surroundings indefinitely. On the contrary, we all have the ability and energy to change it. Our fate depends entirely on our deeds. In other words, we are the architects of our karma. Cultivating in accordance with the Buddha's teachings means we change the karma of ourselves, changing our karmas by not only giving up our bad actions or misdeeds, but also forgiving offenses directed against us by others. We cannot blame anyone else for our miseries and misfortunes. We have to face life as it is, and not run away from it, because there is no place on earth to hide from karma. Performing good deeds is indispensable for our own happiness. There is no need of imploring favors from deities or simply showing repentance. Changing karma also means remembrance of karma, and using wisdom to distinguish virtue from evil, and freedom from constraint, so that we are able to avoid evil deeds, to do meritorious deeds, or not to create any deeds at all. Changing karma also means to purify our minds rather than praying, performing rites, or torturing our bodies. In other words, changing karma also means to change your narrow-minded heart into a heart full of love and compassion, and accomplish the four boundless hearts, especially the hearts of loving kindness and compassion. True Buddhists should always remember that sooner or later everyone has to die once. After death, what can we bring with us? We cannot bring with us any worldly possessions. Only our bad or good karma will follow us, like a shadow of our own. Practitioners with karma and results. From morning to night, we create karma with our body, with our mouth, and with our mind. In our thoughts, we always think that people are bad. In our mouth, we always talk about other people's rights and wrongs, tell lies, say indecent things, scold people, backbite, and so on. Karma is one of the fundamental doctrines of Buddhism. Everything that we encounter in this life, good or bad, sweet or bitter, is a result of what we did in the past, or from what we have done recently in this life. Good karma produces happiness, bad karma produces pain and suffering. So, what is karma? Karma is a Sanskrit word. Literally means a deed or an action, and a reaction, the continuing process of cause and effect. Moral or any good or bad action. However, the word karma is usually used in the sense of evil bent, or mind resulting from past wrongful actions taken while living. which causes corresponding future retribution, either good or evil transmigration, action and reaction, the continuing process of cause and effect. Karma is neither fatalism nor a doctrine of predetermination. Our present life is formed and created through our actions and thoughts in our previous lives. Our present life and circumstances are the product of our past thoughts and actions, and in the same way our deeds in this life will fashion our future mode of existence. According to the definition of the karma, the past influences the present, but does not dominate it, for karma is past as well as present. However, both past and present influence the future. The past is a background against which life goes on from moment to moment. The future is yet to be. Only the present moment exists, and the responsibility of using the present moment for good or bad lies with each individual. A karma can be created by body, speech, or mind. There are good karma, evil karma, and indifferent karma. All kinds of karma are accumulated by the Alyavijnana and Manas. Karma can be cultivated through religious practice, good, and uncultivated, for a sentient being has lived through innumerable reincarnations. Each has boundless karma. Whatever kind of karma is, a result would be followed accordingly, sooner or later. No one can escape the result of his own karma. In the Anguttara Nikaya Sutra, the Buddha taught, "O Bhikkhus, mental volition is what I call action or karma. Having volition one acts by body, speech and thought." Karma is a Sanskrit term which means action, good or bad, including attachments, aversions, defilements, anger, jealousy. Karma is created, formed by that being's conceptions, samskara. This potential directs one behavior and steers the motives for all present and future deeds. In Buddhism, karma arises from three factors: body, speech, and mind. For instance, when you are speaking, you create a verbal act. When you do something, you create a physical act. And when you are thinking, you may create some mental actions. Mental actions are actions that have no physical or verbal manifestations. Buddhist ethical theory is primarily with volitional actions, that is, those actions that result from deliberate choice. For such actions set in motion a series of events that inevitably produce concordant results. These results may be either pleasant or unpleasant, depending on the original volition. In some cases, the results of actions are experienced immediately, and in others they are only manifested at a later time. Some karmic results do not accrue until a future life. Karmas are actions that lead to both immediate and long-range results. All good and evil actions taken while living, action and appropriate result of action. Karma is not limited by time or space. An individual is coming into physical life with a karma, character and environment resulting from his action in the past. Briefly, karma means deed. It is produced by all deeds we do. Any deed is invariably accompanied by a result. All that we are at the present moment is the result of the karma that we have produced in the past. Karma is complex and serious. Our deeds, however trifling, leave traces physically, mentally, and environmentally. The traces left in our minds include memory, knowledge, habit, intelligence, and character. They are produced by the accumulation of our experiences and deeds over a long period of time. The traces that our deeds leave on our body can be seen easily, but only part of traces in our minds remain on the surface of our mind. The rest of them are hidden depths of our minds, or sunk in the subconscious mind. This is the complexity and seriousness of the karma. According to Buddhism, a karma is not a fate or a destiny. Neither is it a simple, unconscious, and involuntary action. On the contrary, it is an intentional, conscious, deliberate, and willful action. Also, according to Buddhism, any actions will lead to similar results, without any exception. It is to say, as one sows, so shall one reap. According to one's action, so shall be the fruit. If we do a wholesome action, we will get a wholesome fruit. If we do an unwholesome action, we will get an unwholesome result. Devout Buddhists should try to understand the law of karma. Once we understand that in our own life every action will have a similar and equal reaction, and once we understand that we will experience the effect of that action, we will refrain from committing unwholesome deeds. Karma is a product of body, speech and mind, while recompense is a product or result of karma. Karma is like a seed sown, and recompense is like a tree grown with fruits. When the body does good things, the mouth speaks good words, the mind thinks of good ideas, then the karma is a good seed. In the contrary, the karma is an evil seed. In Buddhism, an action is considered good when it brings happiness and well-being to oneself and others, evil when it brings suffering and harm to oneself and others. Practitioners should not create suffering for others, because, according to Zen, we, ourselves and others are not different. In fact, we are related to each other's by bonds more intimate than we think. In the endless cycles of birth and death, we are in reality extensions of each other. Therefore, practitioners should always take others into consideration before acting and speaking. We should regard others as we regard ourselves. The law of causation, reality itself as cause and effect in momentary operation. According to the Buddhist doctrines, every action produces an effect, and it is a cause first, and effect afterwards. We therefore speak of karma as the law of cause and effect. There is no end to the result of an action if there is no end to the karma. Life in nowadays society, it is extremely difficult for us not to create any karma. However, we should be very careful about our actions, so that their effect will be only good. Thus the Buddha taught to lead a good life. You Buddhists should make every effort to control the activities of your body, speech, and mind. Do not let these activities hurt you and others. Recompense corresponds karma, without any exception. Naturally, good seed will produce a healthy tree and delicious fruits, while bad seed gives worse tree and fruits. Therefore, unless we clearly understand and diligently cultivate the laws of cause and effect, or karma and result, we cannot control our lives and experience a life the way we wish to. According to the Buddha Dharma, no gods, nor heavenly deities, nor demons can assert their powers on us. We are totally free to build our lives the way we wish. According to Buddhist doctrines, karma is always just. It neither loves nor hates, neither rewards nor punishes. Karma and recompense is simply the law of cause and effect. If we accumulate good karma, the result will surely be happy and joyous. No demons can harm us. In the contrary, if we create evil karma, no matter how much and earnestly we pray for help, the result will surely be bitter and painful. No gods can save us. According to Buddhism, man is the creator of his own life and his own destiny. All the good and bad that comes our way in life is the result of our own actions reacting upon us. Our joys and sorrows are the effects of which our actions, both in the distant and the immediate past, are the causes. And what we do in the present will determine what we become in the future. Since man is the creator of his own life, to enjoy a happy and peaceful life, he must be a good creator, that is, he must create good karma. Good karma comes ultimately from a good mind, from a pure and calm mind. The law of karma binds together the past, present, and future lives of an individual through the course of his transmigration. To understand how such a connection is possible between the experiences and actions of an individual in successive lives, we must take a brief look at the Buddhist analysis of consciousness. According to the Buddhist philosophy of consciousness, the Vijnanavada school, there are 8 kinds of consciousness. The first 5 are the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body consciousnesses. These make possible the awareness of the 5 kinds of external sense data through the 5 sense organs. The 6th consciousness is the intellectual consciousness, the faculty of judgment which discerns, compares, and distinguishes the sense data and ideas. The 7th consciousness, called the manas, is the ego consciousness, the inward awareness of oneself as an ego, and the clinging to discrimination between oneself and others, even when the first 6 kinds of consciousness are not functioning. For example, in deep sleep, the 7th consciousness is still present, and if threatened, this consciousness, through the impulse of self-protection, will cause us to awaken. The 8th consciousness is called the Alaya Vijnana, the storehouse consciousness, because this consciousness is so deep, it is very difficult to understand. The Alaya Vijnana is a repository which stores all the impressions of our deeds and experiences. Everything we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and do deposits, so to speak. A seed is a nucleus of karmic energy. Since the Alaya hoards all the seeds of our past actions, it is the architect of our destiny. Our life and character reflect the seeds in our store consciousness. If we deposit bad seeds, perform more evil actions, we will become bad persons. Since Buddhism places ultimate responsibility for our life in our own hands, if we want our hands to mold our life in a better way, we must launch our minds in a better direction. For it is the mind which controls the hands, which mold our life. However, sometimes we know someone who is virtuous, gentle, kind, loving and wise, and yet his life is filled with troubles from morning to night. Why is this? What happens to our theory that good acts lead to happiness and bad acts to suffering? To understand this, we must realize that the fruits of karma do not necessarily mature in the same lifetime in which the karma is originally accumulated. Karma may bring about its consequences in the next life or in succeeding lives. If a person was good in a previous life, he may enjoy happiness and prosperity in this life, even though his conduct now is bad. And a person who is very virtuous now may still meet a lot of trouble because of bad karma from a past life. It is like planting different kinds of seeds. Some will come to flower very fast. Others will take a long time, maybe years. The law of cause and effect does not come about at different times, in different forms, and at different locations. While some of our experiences are due to karma in the present life, others may be due to karma from previous lives. In the present life, we receive the results of our actions done in past lives as well as in the present. And what we reap in the future will be the result of what we do in the present. The doctrine of karma is not merely a doctrine of cause and effect, but of action and reaction. The doctrine holds that every action, willfully performed by an agent, be it of thought, word, or deed, tends to react upon that agent. The law of karma is a natural law, and its operation cannot be suspended by any power of a deity. Our action brings about their natural results. Recognizing this, Buddhists do not pray to a god for mercy, but rather regulate their actions to bring them into harmony with the universal law. If they do evil, they try to discover their mistakes and rectify their ways, and if they do good, They try to maintain and develop that good. Buddhists should not worry about the past, but rather be concerned about what we are doing in the present. Instead of running around seeking salvation, we should try to sow good seeds in the present and leave the results to the law of karma. The theory of karma in Buddhism makes man, and no one else, the architect of his own destiny. From moment to moment, we are producing and creating our own destiny through our thought, our speech, and our deeds. Thus the ancient said, "Sow a thought and reap an act. Sow an act and reap a habit. Sow a habit and reap a character. Sow a character and reap a destiny." When we plant a black pepper seed, black pepper plant grows, and we will reap black pepper, not oranges. Similarly, when we act positively, happiness follows, not suffering. When we act destructively, misery comes, not happiness. Just as small seed can grow into a huge tree with much fruit, small actions can bring large result. Therefore, we should try to avoid even small negative actions, and to create small negative ones. If the cause isn't created, the result does not occur. If no seed is planted, nothing grows. The person who hasn't created the cause to be killed won't be, even if he or she is in a car crash. According to the Buddha, man makes his own destiny. He should not blame anyone for his troubles, since he alone is responsible for his own life. For either better or worse, your difficulties and troubles are actually self-caused. They arise from actions rooted in greed, hatred, and delusion. In fact, suffering is the price you pay for craving for existence and sensual pleasures. The price which comes as physical pain and mental agony is a heavy one to pay. It is like paying monthly payment for the brand new Chevrolet Corvette you own. The payment is the physical pain and mental agony you undergo, while the Corvette is your physical body through which you experience the worldly pleasures of the senses. You have to pay the price for the enjoyment. Nothing is really free of charge, unfortunately. If we act positively, the happy result will eventually occur. When we do negative actions, the imprints aren't lost, even though they may not bring their results immediately. Devout Buddhists should always remember that the ocean's water may dry up, mountain may waste away. The actions done in former lives are never lost. On the contrary, they come to fruit though eons after eons pass, until at last the debt is paid. Body, speech, and mind all make karma. When we cling, we create habits that can make us suffer in the future. This is the fruit of our attachment, of our past defilement. Remember, not only body but also speech and mental action can make conditions for future results. If we did some act of kindness in the past and remember it today, we will be happy. And this happy state of mind is the result of past karma. In other words, all things conditioned by cause, both long-term and moment-to-moment. The karma that we have now is very deep-rooted and complex, and includes the former karma that human beings have accumulated since their beginning. We also possess the former karma that we have produced ourselves in previous existences, and to some extent, the former karma that our ancestors have produced. For those who were born in the same family, from generation to generation, or in the same country, would bear the same kinds of karma, to some extent. And of course we possess the present karma that we have produced ourselves in this life. Is it possible for an ordinary person to become free from these karmas and enter the mental state of perfect freedom, escape from the world of illusion, by means of his own wisdom? This is clearly out of the question. What then, if anything, can we do about it? All that one has experienced, thought, and felt in the past remains in the depths of one's subconscious mind. Psychologists recognize that the subconscious mind not only exerts a great influence on man's character, and his mental functions, but even causes various disorders. Because it is normally beyond our reach, we cannot control the subconscious mind by mere reflection and meditation. If we act positively, the happy result will eventually occur. When we do negative actions, the imprints aren't lost even though they may not bring their results immediately. Devout Buddhists should always remember that the ocean's water may dry up, mountain may waste away. The actions done in former lives are never lost. On the contrary, they come to fruit though eons after eons pass, until at last the debt is paid. When we plant a black pepper seed, black pepper plant grows, and we will reap black pepper, not oranges. Similarly, when we act positively, happiness follows, not suffering. When we act destructively, misery comes, not happiness. Just as small seed can grow into a huge tree with much fruit, small actions can bring large result. Therefore, we should try to avoid even small negative actions, and to create small negative ones. Body, speech, and mind all make karma. When we cling, we create habits that can make us suffer in the future. This is the fruit of our attachment, of our past defilement. Remember, not only body but also speech and mental action can make conditions for future results. If we did some act of kindness in the past and remember it today, we will be happy, and this happy state of mind is the result of past karma. In other words, all things conditioned by cause, both long-term and moment-to-moment,